I'm Devorah Wallen, and I'd like to share my Tea for Two, my Torah thought, for 2 minutes, more or less. At the end of last week's Parsha, Shemini, the laws of impurity and purity were discussed, including the kosher and unkosher animals. These laws, called the laws of Tumah and Tahara, are continued in this week's portion. Much of the Parsha is devoted to the phenomenon of tzora'as, which is loosely translated as leprosy, but is considered a spiritually rooted skin eruption. Although it comes out physically and is visible, it is almost like a psycho-spiritual somatic illness that occurs when a person behaves in an inappropriate manner. In those days, we were more sensitive to emotional and spiritual inconsistencies. Any such inner conflict would manifest itself in the physical body. When the skin affliction or nega was seen, the Kohen needed to diagnose it, and he would know and be able to reveal what spiritual problem was being expressed. Once the affliction was diagnosed, the person had to leave the encampment until the affliction subsided. The Kohen would have to determine whether the skin lesion had changed or did not change. The first Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, explains that the lesion of tzora'as, which appears on the skin, is a white patch of skin because the white color is a sign of an interruption in blood flow. The heart in a healthy person pumps blood to all the limbs, then they send the blood back to the heart. On a mystical level, the Rebbe explains the lack of blood flow results in the white patch of skin, which is called the nega tzora'as, the affliction of tzora'as. Depending on where the eruption occurred, there was a spiritual analog. For instance, if a person had a lesion on the head or on the beard, it was a manifestation of the person's haughtiness. Found elsewhere on the body, it was a result of slander or gossip. Since words are more superficial misdeeds, the tzora'as was found only superficially on the body that is usually covered with clothing. Whereas, since haughtiness involves one's mind and attitude, the nega was therefore found on the head, more visible and permeating, in a part of the body that is more indispensable. Tzora'as is related to the word tsoros or tzara, meaning something challenging, narrow, or critical. A tsaros ayin is when a person looks at things with a negative and critical attitude. One who has an ayin tov, or tov ayin, sees things in a positive light. The Kohen would pronounce whether the appearance of the tzora'as changed or not. The first Ger Rebbe, the Chidushei Arim, explains the verse, V'hine lo hafach hanega es eino. The appearance of the tzora'as did not change in his eye, as a play on words. Eino means his ayin, his eye. The nega didn't change because the person's ayin tzara, negative outlook, did not change. Since it did not change, the affliction didn't either. Since he still had a critical attitude toward his fellow Jew, the tzora'as remained on his clothes. There's another fascinating interpretation of this verse on the word nega, or affliction. Nega is the same letters as the word oneg, meaning pleasure, as in oneg Shabbat. The only difference in the two words is the location of the ayin. Everything depends on our ayin, our eye, our perspective. If we have a good eye, looking at things in an upbeat and positive way, then we have oneg. Life is a delight. However, with the ayin tzara, his ayin is at the end of the word nega. He remains callous, closed off, arrogant, and afflicted. The appearance did not change. Even during challenging times, we can look at things from a more open, benevolent, and optimistic perspective, with the ayin beginning the word oneg instead of nega. Certainly with this attitude, we will be deemed worthy of giving ourselves and Hashem true oneg and pleasure, bringing the world closer to its ultimate fruition, the coming of Mashiach.